Hap Clough, the Director of IT for the City of Norfolk, Virginia. The City of Norfolk is 240,000 population. And in Virginia, one thing that's important to remember is that cities there's no two tiers. So as a city, we do all the county functions. So we have tax assessment and human services and all kind of stuff. It sounds like we have more when we have less. We got 4,000 employees, most of them working on any given day. And in IT, we have 100 people that are direct reports to the IT department and probably another 50 in other departments. Okay. The overall concern for all the processes that we have, as a city, we have thousands of processes. Every one of them are potential for being automated into processes. Right now, most of them are human processes or a combination of human and paper processes. And I saw this happening where we just can't continue to do it. We're getting budget restrictions, and yet there's more things happening. And just a simple example, in the City of Norfolk, last year we did about 30,000 permits for housing and construction. This year we're going to have 48,000. Well, but we have the budget, the income from those won't come until the next year after we've collected all the money from the permits. So, but we've got to do those things now. And so that kind of prompts me to really focus on it for the future for local government. The way businesses run are by using their form. So by putting that form on the screen of your computer and then drawing the plan that you needed and saw the form that you needed to be able to work with, and then allowing everything in the background to be automated off the clicks of a button, it really made a lot of sense to me. And I've been following it ever since that time, and really it made it possible when I went to a different jurisdiction to then evolve it each time as I went. I was able to start fresh, and in Norfolk was really a good experience because I was able to then talk about it as an enterprise project, and that we would then slowly grow by bits and pieces as we did it. It's a tool that lets me go into people's organizations and say, we're going to come in and show you how to automate your processes and go through all this work and energy and doing that kind of stuff. And at the end, you're actually going to see the results. So many initiatives, especially in government and bureaucracies, has evolved around you come in and you do all this championing of stuff, and you document all the processes, you get it all down on paper, and it's a book on the shelf for the rest of the time. With the e-work, it's so simple to show them what they can do, and that when they go through all this pain and suffering, that at the end of that light, there's going to be something that they really benefit from. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is the real essence that I see with this tool. One of the other things is just the ability to see the future of where IT is taking the organization and help have a reason for changing the culture so that we can actually achieve those things. My vision of the future is that the process automation will become a user and end user product. The example I often give it to people is, how are processes treated today? Well, a person that's in charge of a process says, hey, we need to keep track of this going from here to here. So they'll get a blank piece of paper out, they'll get the ruler out, and they'll draw a form up. They'll flip it over and they'll write, this form goes from here to Mary to Jane, back to me, and that's how and then they send it off to the print shop, print it off on 3-part NCR paper, and voila, you've automated a process. My vision is that in the future, that same person will do the same thing on their computer screen. And instead of the paper, they'll automate it process, and it will never touch IT. It'll never touch anybody else because that's what they now have to do. So I see it like spreadsheets. You wouldn't think about going back to IT or to somebody else to help fill out your spreadsheet. And to me, that's the commitment that I see eWork has made in the Metastorm group, is that we're going to make you the best darn tool there is. And you're going to be able to do whatever you want to with it. You've got to look at your organization and see if the organization itself wants to automate its processes. And most don't. I would say that there aren't 10% of the organizations in the world today, government, private, whatever, that really want to automate processes. Now, government, it's really a higher priority because that's all we do. We don't produce product per se. And so you can't measure, you can't come in and say, okay, we're going to have to bring this system in, it's going to cost this to do it, but we're going to be able to produce 10 times as many golf balls and at less price. So we're going to make more money so we can pay for what we do. In government, we don't. We have the pot of money and that's all there is. And if we're approaching it from the perspective that we're going to get something out of it, or we're going to gain profit, or it just won't work. You got to come in with an attitude. And then the organization itself will start seeing the vision in the process. So that's how we approached it in Norfolk. I came in and showed what you could do with the eWork tool, and it shows very well. It's got sizzle like no other product there is. The problem is that as soon as you do that, then you've whetted everybody's appetite, and they say, well, when are you going to do it? You know, I want to get this now. I need 5 people in that training today. So the next step was then to take them back into the reality chamber and let them see how difficult it was, and not because of the tool, but because they didn't know their own processes. They had never documented them, and they weren't willing to give up components of them. And that was, I think, the shift that took place. And you can imagine in a government, we have just thousands of forms, and every one of those is a potential process to be automated. Hopefully we'll chip away at a few of those.